Alright, here comes a couple episodes of Gaige before we get back to Maya. It's probably not really fair to Gaige to do this because Gaige requires like a mindset. The developers seems like they purposefully designed her kind of as a flex. Look, we can create a character that does absolutely the opposite of everything you expect to have to do in a shooter, and yet make it a successfully balanced character that's fun to play. And that's pretty cool. And it's pretty funny, actually. Don't do tactical reloads. Don't try to be accurate. That's how she ends up playing. And it's pretty cool that the mechanics of Borderlands are flexible enough that you can have a character that's so opposite of what you want and have them still work well. That said, I'm not very good at doing that. I don't go out and get special weapons that work particularly well with Gaige. I try to use what I have. And it's not really fair to Gaige here for me to just do 2 episodes with her and then not really get into the swing of things and do, Gaige appropriate play. But on the other hand, it's just until we get to Sanctuary. Every character is largely the same. It's kind of like a tutorial almost to get you to Sanctuary, so it's not like we're going to totally miss everything. But then, on the other hand, again, unlike all the other characters, Gaige gets her skills, her main skills, pretty much right away. She relies on Deathtrap and Anarchy, and we'll have that before we get to Sanctuary. We won't have Discord, which, it's a necessary component of Anarchy. In order to really make Anarchy work, you need Discord, and we'll see that in the future. There's no need to go into it now, which is why it's kind of unfair to Gaige to just do 2 episodes and not be able to start explaining her and seeing what she's all about. All we really need right now is a little extra storage space, so we'll get her to Sanctuary and open up Claptrap's secret stash. But yeah, in my opinion, if, for somebody who doesn't have very good skills, Maya is definitely, if you want to get all the way through Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, in my opinion, Maya was way easier for me than any other character. And so the way that I decided to do this is have Maya collect the weapons arsenal, and then we will use Borderlands storage capacity in order to keep all those for subsequent characters, so that, by the time we get to weaker characters that I can't play as well, I can at least make up for some of that by having really solid gear available, all the way through, and not have to rely on occasional good drops as much. But that means you need to come up with some storage space, because it turns out that that's a lot of stuff you gotta save. Some of the things you might not think about is 0 fuse time grenades. Sure, it's not a legendary, it's not a purple. Well, sometimes it can be a purple, but finding a 0 fuse time grenade in any rarity is a good find. And you count all your 0 fuse time grenades that you find, you count, say, any elemental anarchists that you find, all the Ludmillas that you farm, any heralds that you farm. Pretty soon you're looking at a bunch of stuff. It doesn't seem like it, but the thing is since I'm not playing at max level, I don't have that ceiling. I've got, level 1 through level 60, or more realistically, let's say level 8 or 10 through level 60, that we're going to want a good, a couple good grenades, a couple, at least one good shield, a couple good weapons, probably a good sniper, a good SMG, a good pistol, for maybe not each and every level, but to create as minimal gaps of, bad gear that we possibly can. So by the last character, we shouldn't need to do much farming. In fact, if it's really going to be your last character, your last playthrough of the story, there's almost no reason to farm, because you're only farming for that character by that point. There's no future. Whereas every character up until your last character, there's a future character to look at that you are potentially farming for their advantage. That comes into play a lot with Ludmillas, because so often when you're farming for Ludmillas, you get a Ludmilla that's 3-4 levels behind where you're already at, which is always disappointing in a playthrough of the story. It's like, yeah, great, I got a Ludmilla, but how long can I hang on to it? It's already, I've already out-leveled it before I even got it. And a consolation prize for that is that, hey, your next character can grab that thing out of the safe the instant they're eligible to carry it. So, like, we found that level 10 Fire Ludmilla with Maya, and she was already level 13 or 14, so it's like, well, that's good and all, we can still use it. But actually, Gaige now, when she gets to Sanctuary, she'll be at least level 8, and she can have that level 10 Ludmilla immediately at her disposal without having to farm. It's just there, which is, a huge advantage for her. So I know this is like a long game type of way of playing it, and I don't think it's probably satisfying for very many people, because, come on, let's just get to the action, let's do it. We got a lot of stuff we can kill, we got a million weapons all around us, let's have some fun, let's do it. And here I'm playing this patient long game, which seems antithetical to Borderlands, but that's part of my point, is that it's not. I mean, that's the way they built this game, and it's a way to play it, so let's do it. Playing endgame for 5 years is not the only way to take the long view. You can do it with story mode as well. In fact, that's how I want to do it, because I like the story mode, I like the progression. So I'm not going to wait to do my farming till I get to max level. I'm going to spread it out over 18 playthroughs, 6 characters is what it comes out to. And we're starting this one early, and it's probably not fair to Gaige, and you'll see me totally ignoring the advantages of anarchy as we get further into this, just forgetting about how you're not supposed to reload. But that's just kind of how it goes. We need the storage space. I don't want to make a storage character. That's going to be another big component for doing it the long way like this, is that obviously Gaige's extra 20 spaces or something is clearly not going to cut it as far as storage. And I'll go ahead and be honest now. I had 19 frickin' storage characters the last time I did this, when I played all 6 characters through 3 modes each and kept the good gear. 19 storage characters, and that can get tedious, let's to be fair. And I could see why you might not want to play the game that way. It's just that I don't mind. It wasn't tedious for me. I kind of like farming for Iridium in the Vault of the Warrior, which you have to do if you want to max out the backpack and the bank for each one of those storage characters. You're just mining, you're farming iridium like crazy with each one of those. But you also find a lot of stuff. You know, we had conference calls, we had a lot of leech grenades and volcanoes, and you know, over that amount of time you find a lot of stuff. The problem is you find all that stuff and it's all right around level 30, because we take advantage of the fact that these you know, ultimate edition type, you know, game of the year or whatever they call them, Pandora's box editions, allow you, I think it's the Commander Lilith DLC actually that technically allowed you to start a level 30 character instead of having to start from scratch. But we're going to take advantage of that level 30 thing to make storage characters. And so everything that we find in the Vault of the Warrior, which is going to be a lot of stuff, we're not going to want to save all of it, because the last time I did this, I had so much level 30, 31, 32 loot that there's no way one character could carry it all and use all of it, you know, so I'd generally grab like a conference call and an anarchist and a good Snyder and be on my way, and all that other loot would just sit idle in storage characters. So that's kind of one of my things I want to do this time through, is maybe eliminate some of that excess. We'll see how well I do. I'm already showing characteristics that I'm failing to do that. I'm saving too much stuff already. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to overcome my own hoarding habits in order to do a better job and not have 19 storage characters. I decided, let's go ahead and get a Hornet. Just a minute ago you saw me using the basic repeater, which is a little doll pistol, and it was only 2 shots per burst, and the Hornet we get will be more than that, so you'll get to see the difference between various doll weapons pretty well here. This is what you do. You go back through the door, save quit, fight Knuckle Dragger again, and hope that he drops a Hornet. And he did not, but I'm going to cut out. You see, we are not even halfway through level 2 here. I'm going to make a cut to where we actually get the Hornet. And here we are, almost done with level 3. So that was a lot of times killing Knuckle Dragger. I eventually settled on using the shotgun. It seemed to be the most reliable, quickest way to get Knuckle Dragger down. We leveled up, so now we're level 4, and there's our Hornet. And no, you're not eligible for a skill yet. It's only level 4. But it turns out we got a twin Hornet, which is a nice thing to have, but this early in the game is kind of bad. We're only carrying 200 rounds of pistol ammo in the ammo pool. I don't know if I'm looking for, maybe I got 2 Hornets, I don't know. Half the time I can't explain what I'm doing when I rewatch these. But yeah, a twin Hornet would be great, like if we were going into the Vault of the Warrior and had a nice 400 round ammo pool for the Hornet, but we don't. So you're going to see this thing. That basic pistol that we started off with was using 2 rounds per burst. You'll see this. Let's count the rounds. What is that? That's like 10 rounds per burst. We got 38, 26, that's 12 rounds per burst. That's like ridiculous, dude. We can't afford that. I mean, obviously we can because we just switch back to our sniper, but for this early in the game, yeah, finding that twin was not the best Hornet we could have found. But you can see it's pretty dang effective. And it highlights the difference between DAL, you know. I like DAL pistols a lot, but just because you get used to firing a DAL pistol doesn't mean you're used to firing a DAL pistol. The difference between that 2-round burst of that basic starter pistol and this one is like night and day. You know, it's like the difference between firing a Herald and firing an Anarchist. Because you got to get like your timing down right if you want to lay down a lot of fire, and you got to get used to how badly it's going to throw off your aim and how much compensation you need to do, how quickly you need to pull the trigger. So every doll is not like every other doll, and that's not a big deal. I do really like Gwen's heads and Hornets. So a doll pistol is, I like it, but I don't necessarily like a doll sniper, because you never do get, 132 I think is the most you ever get for an ammo pool when you're maxed out. So if you're going through 4 shots per burst, you need to be careful about continually cutting off your bursts in order to keep any ammo. Otherwise, you're just going to fly right through your ammo pool. And for whatever reason, I just don't like it on SMGs or on ARs. Having that burst is... I've never gotten used to it on that style of a weapon. I'd much rather prefer a Maliwan or a Vladov or a Hyperion. But for pistols, yeah, I'll take a doll.
Shack and I shall restore Claptrap's sight. First, I shall shut off the electrical fence for you. Please stay back, Bolt Hunter. Let Claptrap go first.
I knew Hammerlock would come around eventually. Me and him are like 2 peas in a pod. 2 bolts in a bag. 2 cannibal midgets in a fat guy's ribcage.
Apologies, but when Claptrap speaks, I feel my brain cells committing suicide one by one. I shall be out directly.
A pleasure to meet you, Bolt Hunter. I am Sir Hammerlock. At your service. I came out here to research the fully...
So like last time we went through here with Maya, we were trying all the different weapons that we picked up, you know. Oh, I cut right there because I paused the game to make sure I was recording. I all of a sudden had this thing of, did I press record? I don't know if I pressed record. So fortunately I was recording, but that was that cut. But anyway, when we were playing with Maya, we didn't have a Hornet. We didn't have anything except, you know, stock weapons. So I was trying different weapons just to see, you know, just to get some variety. But this time we've got the Hornet, and I'm not really going to try anything else. And it's kind of a waste to farm Knuckle Dragger for this. It took me a long time. And there's no point, because I don't even know if I'll save it. Because you can't, you know, at the start of the game, you can't trade these things through Claptrap's secret stash until somebody gets to Sanctuary. So, like, Gaige doesn't have access to any of the stuff that Maya already got. in her first couple missions, you know, because Claptrap's secret stash isn't open yet. I think we could do some rigmarole with, you know, cross-save or, you know, getting two of my characters in the same game and, you know, cooperative multiplayer type of thing. But I'm not going to do that. We're just going to use the Claptrap's secret stash as our mechanism for trading gear, and that's really the only mechanism I'm going to use. So I don't even know how to do that cross-save stuff. It kind of, you know, it's a mechanism that they provide. So I wouldn't call it cheating. It's just one that I don't want to use, so I'm not going to. We're just using the secret stash, and that means this Hornet, you know, by the time we get to Sanctuary, this Hornet's already going to be pretty old. And in Frostburn Canyon, you know, it's mostly fire that we're going to want. Maybe it would be good on some of those guys that carry around the tanks and the, what do you call those things? The fire-breathing weapons that shoot out flames. Those guys are not susceptible to fire damage. Maybe this would work on them, but it's going to be getting pretty old because you could see on the weapons card when we first got it, it doesn't even have a level. And 17 times 2, you know, is going to be outclassed by the time we get there, so it's kind of a pointless exercise to get a Hornet this early. But it's fun to have one. Even though it blows through the ammo. That's ridiculous. We'd be so much better off with a non-twin. I should be cutting off my bursts more because that's too much ammo for those little guys. That was better. Look how low our magazine is now. You know, I was thinking about it, and I don't think I've ever actually checked if this mission is required or not. Can you go straight to Claptrap and get him started and skip the bullymongs? I've always just done this mission. I've never considered skipping it before, but that occurred to me while I was watching this. Maybe I could have just grabbed Claptrap and not done this cleaning up the Berg thing. We'll have to check next time we play through, if I remember. I just automatically do it every time. I never thought about skipping it. I don't know if I'd want to skip it, really. It's, you know, kind of like one of the first things you do. It's like a tradition, I guess. And maybe for some people, going after Midgemon is a tradition too. They wouldn't think, you know, why would I play this without going after Midgemon? Whereas I pretty much almost never do. I've done it a few times, and it's fun, but it feels like a sidetrack to me, like a tangent. Like I only do it if I feel real leisurely. So Claptrap has started on his way. We actually didn't buy any ammo. We probably should have, carrying around this thing. Gaige is accumulating a lot more money than Maya did, mostly because she farmed Knuckle Dragger for so long. And it was a long time. I was like, Jesus, I don't know if I've ever farmed Knuckle Dragger this long.
How's your day been, buddy? We haven't really talked much since
But the Hornet is not well placed in the playthrough to make it a good, appropriate farm. I mean, it's kind of fun to do right here, and I like using it. I'm having fun using it. But
so you know.
it would be nicer if the Hornet was available closer to a real corrosive mission, you know, like before the bunker or before opportunity or the Vault of the Warrior. Sometime when you really wanted corrosive, you get this thing, and then, you know, you've got fire missions basically for a long time. So it's like misplaced in the order of the story. But that's irrelevant. Once you get to Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, you can go back and farm Knuckle Dragger anytime you want to get a new Hornet.
What have you done? These
So you can get one right before the bunker.
feelings. Totally kidding. Screw those guys.
But you can also get a Corrosive Gwen's Head without having to spend experience points on killing Knuckle Dragger. So
I'm racking my brain trying to think of a name.
this might be one of the few times we really enjoy using a Hornet. Because lots of times I do take the Corrosive
What, Stallion?
Gwen's Head instead.
Even worse. I'll tell you what, I'll give it some more thought.
You know, I'm sure it's out there. But I don't think I've ever watched anyone's playthrough where they made Gwen's Heads a regular part of their thing. I mean, I'm sure somebody does, but I just don't think I've ever seen that. And I'd love Gwen's Heads. I mean, I make all kinds of use of those. I think they're really good guns. I don't think they get enough love. We are about to level up. Usually I throw a skyrocket here, and it takes out most of these guys all at once. But I didn't pick up grenades from that vending machine. I didn't pick up anything from that vending machine, so I want to make sure I have a skyrocket for Big Bertha, so I don't want to go throwing them around here. Now we have Deathtrap. Go get him, Deathtrap. What? Everybody's dead already? So Deathtrap is pretty cool. He doesn't have any of his spikes or his, you know, he looks a lot more badass later after you get some skill points on him. But he doesn't have anyone to fight right now. But you can see he stays out for a long time. He also has a really long recovery. So he will not be available as our action skill. I don't know, it's like almost a minute, I think. Found an anarchist right away, that's cool. Again, it's a twin though. So this playthrough, the theme is let's use as much pistol ammo as we possibly can. I forgot that other little chest back there. So we look like we're back fully loaded on pistol ammo, yeah?
And open.
I should probably clarify. The diamond horse I've been telling you about, it's a sculpture thing. It's a living horse that actually happens to be made.
And I guess
Actually, I'll go
the Hornet, the corrosive damage is good against Boom Boom. I guess I've never picked up in the story why Boom Boom appear to be Hyperion guys. You know? I mean, they're all decked out in some extra stuff, but it looks like basically they're in Hyperion soldier uniforms.
Light the fuses, bitches! I'm ready to blow! This guy! Go!
Now, Deathtrap is available again. I like having Deathtrap around. When I get done playing Gaige, I always miss having Deathtrap available because it's like having a robot companion. And since we've also got Claptrap, it's like we have two robot companions. And they both have Trap for a last name. I wonder if that was intentional.
Don't screw with my butt, suckers!
No bonus package this time. That's one thing about Deathtrap. He will sit there and kill Rax until the end of time. He does that in Vault of the Warrior. And eventually with Gaige you get a skill where as long as you and Deathtrap keep making kills, he gets to stay out. And so you can end up putting Deathtrap out in Vault of the Warrior and just have him stay out killing Rax the whole time. He seems to prefer that to killing other things. But that also is true about surveyors. He loves killing surveyors as well. And obviously, if we're only going to Sanctuary, we're not going to get there for, we're not going to get to the point of fighting any surveyors, so that'll be a long time in the future before we see Deathtrap doing that. In fact, I don't think I get Deathtrap out again in this episode. I still need a little pistol ammo and a little sniper ammo. So yeah, there's so many things, that we're touching on here that's just like, yeah, but we're not going to get to that because we're only playing essentially a few minutes of Gaige, and then we're going to go back to Maya. And I feel a little bit bad about that. As much as I like Deathtrap and Anarchy is pretty fun, Gaige is totally not my favorite character to play. Gaige and Salvador are my two least favorite. Those are the ones I die with the most. Obviously, I can keep Maya alive fairly well. We'll see in True Vault Hunter mode and Ultimate Vault Hunter mode how well I can keep her alive. I don't expect it's going to be very good, but it's not going to be as bad as Gaige and Salvador. I mean, sometimes with Gaige and Salvador, it is just so frustrating to just die over and over and over, not being able to accumulate any cash, which I like to do. Because every time you do, you get killed 4 times in a row and all your cash is gone. And, 4 times in a row, that's like optimistic when I'm playing Salvador or Gaige.
I might have tried to stage a mutiny on Captain Flint's ship before
But yeah, here in the pre-Sanctuary days, it's all pretty generic. Every character is basically the same. I wish in this episode that I would have paid better attention, though, because we're going to get anarchy here in just a second. Yep. And you'll see me take it.
That anarchy thing looks tricky.
I haven't played Gaige in quite a while, so I'm not thinking about, oh, dude, you can't reload now. Stop doing tactical reloads if you're going to build anarchy. I just, took the skill and then forgot about it. I didn't make any effort at all to build anarchy. I just forgot it was even there. And I forgot Deathtrap was even there. So I just go through this whole next section all the way to Flint without even considering Deathtrap or Anarchy, which both could have helped me and would have been a good chance to show the uniqueness of Gaige, because she is a little more unique early than most other characters, since her main two things are by level 6, right? That's pretty damn early. I mean, Maya doesn't get cloud kill. We were level 20 before we got cloud kill? And then before we get convergence, it's going to be 10 more levels. So Gaige fills out the quickest as far as her main things that you're going to be using the whole time you play her. That guy just didn't want to stick his head up or anything. And he was fairly tough. See, every time you kill somebody, that little indicator down on the progress bar will show anarchy going up. And it's every time you kill somebody and every time you do a natural reload, a running out of ammo reload. If you manually do a tactical reload, it kills anarchy, and that's why the indicator's gone, because I manually, I did my own reload in preparation, like I always do, and that's one of the kind of funny things that developers pulled on us. I assume out of kind of a sense of humor. Everybody has this habit of tactical reloads. Let's force them to break that habit, and that'll be hilarious. And it is hilarious for about 10 minutes, and then it can become frustrating. I guess, I'm not even trying here, but when I do start trying to remember, don't reload, don't reload, don't reload. There goes all my anarchy stacks because I reloaded. Even when you really try to keep an awareness, okay, it's Gaige, don't reload, you still do it. Just the habit comes in. And it's really hard to overcome, surprisingly hard. We are full on pistol ammo again, so we can use the Hornet for a while. I don't know if I do. Find a shotgun here in a second.
Captain Flint's again, asking if anyone's seen my Deathtrap unit. Little bastard escaped a few months back. I've had to use Heathen as my backup torture doll. You can't have it. Just ain't the same. At the sound of Heathen screaming for his life, it will be 2:30. See you again at 2:35. A few of you have asked me.
There's a guy right there. I just walked past him and didn't see him. I'm playing with the sound off, so I don't hear his shots. I saw the red dot on the mini-map and said, hey, there's somebody somewhere. Where are they? Two Dahl assault rifles. I think they're significantly better than the beginner rifle that we have. But I didn't take them anyway. Usually I climb up that ladder and, scrounge through everything. There's our little shotgun. Trade out our shield for one that's slightly better. I think from what I've seen of other people's playthroughs, I'm a lot more like shield anal than most other players I've seen. And a lot of content that I watch, they'll be like making shield recommendations, telling you what you should use, but it's always like legendary shields and stuff that you get from exotic farms or whatever. I've only seen a couple. I've had a couple of shams from the bunker that were really good, and some black holes, which, and what else have I ever found? Flame of the Firehawk can be good. But when you're playing like I am, just through the story and not having it like, it's only available for a few levels really before it starts getting not a very strong shield anymore. Like Flame of the Firehawk is, it's a nice phenomenon for a couple levels, and then you have to find something else. So it's hard for me to get too excited about it. And so I don't bother going after one. I use the vending machines and what I find instead of going after legendary shields. But within those parameters, I'm pretty picky, and like probably more than any other piece of gear, I want my shield to be on level because I get hit so much. I don't know how many times it's saved me. That would be one of those things that's impossible to quantify, but I bet it's a lot. You've already seen with Maya how many times I've escaped, down to 10 health or 25 health, and how much of that was because I had a good on-level shield. I don't really know for sure, but I suspect it's a fair amount of it. And you can get by with an old grenade or an old sniper, but an old shield is maybe not the best idea, at least not for me. And I'd rather have like a brand new green turtle shield than a 4-level old Flame of the Firehawk, or, you know, I guess a sham is pretty good, but it's rare enough that I almost don't even count it. I'll keep it if I find one, and then every character will use it for like 6 levels. The thing about the sham is that, like, since it's so absorbent, it can last for a really long time because it continues to absorb. But eventually it does get old. But of course, you know, this early in the game, it's not worth getting all anal over, you know. This is just kind of the tutorial section anyway, so if you find a better shield, take it. If you don't, you'll probably be alright. I will give my sniper ammo and my pistol ammo a little break here and see if we can't use some shotgun ammo. Oh, and yeah, I do get out Deathtrap again. See, right here I'm figuring we'll take care of these guys real quick. We'll go around the corner and get those guys that are attacking Claptrap, and I'll have Deathtrap help me do that. So we'll throw our skyrocket, and that was a bad throw, but Deathtrap, hello Deathtrap. He didn't feel like helping out. We didn't actually need him, so it's no big deal, but still, he just, yeah, count me out on this one. That doesn't look like that fun of a fight for me, so I'll just stay here, thanks. That's the thing about Deathtrap and the turret, Axton's turret. You can't really control what they do. They do their own thing. And sometimes it's totally awesome and saves your ass 100%. Wouldn't have been able to get by without them. And then they'll turn around and just bail on you. Instead of attacking the warrior or attacking Jack, they'll just sit there and go after racks in the sky. And then sometimes they won't. Sometimes you'll be in fight for your life, just like, God damn it, Jack took me down again. I'm gonna get respawned. And then Deathtrap comes in and saves your ass. And you're pretty much done except for killing the warrior.
My new minion's a bona fide badass.
You just don't know what to expect when the random number generator is so well integrated into your game. And that's important point, you know. I mean, anybody can do random generation, you know, use algorithms and a random number generator in order to enhance their game. But geez Louise, you know, these guys, they did a bang up job at just incorporating it so tastefully. I mean, to where it doesn't feel unfair. That's the thing, like, if you play survival mode in like Fallout 4 and it's a random chance whether you're gonna catch a disease or not, and then you keep catching them for stupid reasons, it just pisses you off. It's just like, that's not fair. I shouldn't have got sick from doing that. Dang it. Now it's going to take me 2 weeks to frickin' recover and go back where I wanted to go. Right? Whereas somehow in this game, it almost always feels fair, despite how much of it is generated like that. It's just really impressive. And this feels like a game that's going to be, it hit that sweet spot so well that at some point, I think most of the Borderlands players, the quote-unquote Borderlands community, already knows that, and they say that a lot. But, like, the gaming community at large, I don't think they've quite given Borderlands 2 the credit it deserves yet. And I think someday it's inevitable that they will. That, at some point it's going to be up there with other classics. I didn't really need to get rid of that in order to pick up those 4 things. But I mean, think about it. How hard would it be to get the balance right on a game like this? I mean, you do anything very wrong and it could spoil the whole thing. You got to get so many things balanced that could ruin it. If you're finding too many legendaries, if you're not finding anything that helps you enough, if, there weren't some green weapons that kicked ass, that, every time you got a green weapon, it was like getting a white card weapon and you just discard it because, you're already pretty sure you're not going to want that. That would put a huge dent in the game. I mean, part of the fun is that you look at all your green weapons and you go, I wonder if this is one of those special green weapons that just happens to have really good stats that you wouldn't expect to be that good. Because that happens fairly frequently. You get some green weapon that you carry around for 5 or 6 levels because it might as well be a purple. Because, rarity is not really a criteria that tells you necessarily how good a weapon is. It's rarity. You can have something that's rare but sucks. But at the same time, we get used to it kind of as a stand-in for quality. And so you see a purple and you go, oh yeah. But sometimes it's just a green. In fact, Maya even had that white card corrosive sniper for a while. And that was a pretty good gun. It wasn't ideal, but we got better use out of it than you might expect. So, but then again, you don't want to take it too far. I mean, if you start thinking, we need to closely look at every white card weapon we pick up, then you're just going to spend forever looking at stats all the time and testing weapons. You need, like, some kind of way to quickly sort through everything. And usually, unless I'm in desperation, I do discard white card weapons pretty much instantly. I used to take a lot of white turtle shields because oftentimes they'll be pretty good on, like, shield capacity and recharge. What they do is they take off a big chunk of your health. That's usually what a white card will, that'll be the trade-off of getting a white card. It takes off like more than half of your health, which is insane. So I usually, unless I'm desperate, or maybe you find a white card that has an immunity on it, shock immunity or fire resistance or whatever, and then maybe it's worth it. You have to be careful throwing skyrockets in there. They work really, really, really well. But you can so easily kill yourself doing that. And now it's time to go deal with Captain Flint. You can see I have 7 stacks of anarchy. So it would be smart if I had been paying attention, you know, and hadn't just set, you know, chosen anarchy and then forgotten all about it. We could be at like 30 stacks or something right now, and if we were careful to save it to use against Captain Flint, we'd be able to take him down pretty fast. But I did not do that. I thought about replaying it. Really easy for me to just restart and re-record, and I could have gone through and paid more attention to anarchy and built it up, done it properly. But I just want to kind of be as honest as I can, like what a playthrough is like. And one of the things that happens when you're an unskilled player is you forget really important things. You know, it's not necessarily a skill, it's your brain. It's your lack of concentration, lack of awareness, you know. That's more important than how fast your reflexes are. Which is also important, but, you know, keeping your awareness will make up for most of your lack of skill. I'm thinking about inflammable because it is Captain Flint, but, you know, we don't really get down there into the fire, so I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to keep this shield. So we're all fully sold off and reloaded. We'll get Claptrap to open that gate for us. We still have 7 stacks of anarchy, but spoiler alert, I'm just going to reload here in a second and ruin it all. And also, this would be a good time to get Deathtrap out, right? I mean, by the time we get all the minions whittled down, all the bandits that come out, Flint is going to be the only option left as an enemy for Deathtrap to attack, and we could use the help. But I don't do that either. I could have Anarchy and Deathtrap, and we could take down Flint in a hurry.
Let's turn up the heat!
But I'm still playing like generic mode here. Not thinking about Gaige's special qualities that she gets her main skills so early, and we should be taking advantage of it instead of forgetting about it. Not that it's a big deal, right? I mean, it's just kind of too bad. So anyway, we are going to have one more episode on our way to Sanctuary, which means this episode will be over as soon as we kill Captain Flint. And then I haven't played the next section yet, so hopefully I'll have a small chance to make up for my oversight here and actually try to build Anarchy and use Deathtrap. Maybe the next episode will be better. And I don't know if you remember, but last time with Maya, I didn't have crouch because I hadn't set up my controls properly. So you can see how easy this is with crouch, getting under that little part that sticks out. Of course, that little triangle there that sticks out, that little sheet of metal, ends up causing me problems here in a second. Now we're good, except for Flint himself coming out. And we have no anarchy at all, because I reloaded. Flint, where are you? Come on. There he is. And I can't get a critical hit on him. I'm entirely missing, like, all my shots. We've barely even taken a sliver off of his health. Let's get out the corrosive weapon. And now you see, since it's a twin, some of those shots are hitting that little thing sticking out and they're coming back on me. So look at that, I'm just wiping myself out with that. Now he's on fire, he's not going to take much damage. Pretty soon here though, he's starting to get susceptible again. Now wouldn't that be nice if we had like 40 anarchy or something and let Deathtrap out? Like that wouldn't even have been a fight. So next episode I'll try to remember. See if we can present Gaige in a little bit better light than I've done here. But I'd rather like present my own play in an honest light than go back and redo this. You know, I mean, this is really the way I play. And that's what I'm trying to show, is that even if you're stupid like me and you're not keeping track of your shit and doing what you need to be doing, you're still alright. You can still play Borderlands 2. You don't have to feel ashamed that you can't take Hyperius down with one bore shot. If you're unskilled, they made this game so that you can enjoy it too. So you don't have to compare yourself to those guys to enjoy the game. Now when we went through here with Maya, we got some good stuff right here. We got a spinny gun and a shotgun, both of which were really good. And this time, a rocketeer and what was that other thing? A bandit assault rifle. So we are pretty much done with the first episode. Pretty soon we'll be done, or we'll be starting the second episode. And Gaige has a lot more cash than Maya had at this point. And she's at a higher level for the same spot after that knuckle dragger farm. But that's it for this episode.